Crypto University, man. Here we're going to be talking to you guys today a little bit about tokenization, what exactly it is, what markets and what sectors it's going to impact, and just how it's going to impact the world as a whole. Um, Steve, I want you to, before we even get started today, is there anything that you have on your mind or that's just been on you about tokenization that either you want to know or you want to tell the people?
I mean, not so much. So what Champ and I are doing, guys, is we're bringing you a four-part series, right? So today would just be part one would be the basics of what tokenization is and where we could see this thing going. When we get into part two, three, and four, we're going to zero in on particular sectors and industries and show you how tokenization is going to transform those industries. So the industries that we're going to touch on first are going to be, and it may not be in this exact order, but it's going to be the stock market, real estate, arts, and music, right? Those four are just juggernauts in itself. And with the data that Champ and I have over, time and research, uh, there's just so much valuable information that's going to come out of this. So you guys have to understand this is not about solely investing. This is just understanding case use now, right? Because if you invest in a project and you never follow the project, you never know where the project can go. And for so long, crypto has always been just about FOMOing in and people trying to chase green, but no one really looks at what this technology was really set up to do.
Right.
And I truly feel that until you do, you'll never have really a true understanding of what it is, which then you can never make a sound investment decision if you don't know how big this three-headed monster is.
Absolutely.
So what Champ and I are doing on this four-part segment, which will end up turning into a many-part segment, guys. Like everything in the world is going to be tokenized. So just to jump right in, Champ, you're going to carry this one. What is
Okay.
tokenization?
Okay. So cut and dry, guys. Tokenization is basically the process of converting real world assets, or at least the ownership, the rights of an asset, into a unique unit called a token, right? It's going to digitize real world assets. And we're talking about from stock, bonds, commodities, all the way down to your digital identity, just your data. It is going to be tokenized, and the way the world is going to now transact it is going to create so many efficiencies from a lot of the friction that exists today. It's going to make things a lot easier, a lot smoother, which is going to bring a lot more people into investing into these different sectors and markets, and it's going to just make things a whole lot simpler and easier, removing intermediaries. So no middlemen, a lot of easy transactions going on. Everybody is informed of these transactions. It's a lot smoother, and it's just going to make the world a lot easier when it comes to investing.
So what are some of the benefits of tokenization?
Great question. So I had to make a little list here just so I don't kind of sway off and get off topic. But one of the main things, and I got to tip my hat to Steve for this because this one has the biggest value out of all the benefits. It's going to be fractional ownership. Um, right now, for example, and I'll tell you guys exactly what fractional ownership is, but I want to give you guys an example just so we don't lose anybody. When it comes to fractional ownership, it just means that you own a piece of something, right? So um, let's say a sports organization, right? We know right now we got the finals that's coming up, right? So let's just say the LA Lakers. Instead of it just being one owner who just owns the entire thing, right? Fractional ownership means now you can have a multitude of people come in and have pieces of ownership. It's almost like taking a pie, splitting it into, even pieces, and each person has their own share of that ownership of the organization. So, fractional ownership, the reason it's so important is because it kind of trickles into the other benefits. So, as an overscale, we're talking about fractional ownership. We're talking about increased security, reduced cost, accessibility. That's another one of your favorites. Increased liquidity, more efficient markets, more money coming in, more investors, and then faster transactions. That's all of the benefits in a nutshell. I can go into them if you would like. If you want to break it down for the people, we can go into each one of them, or we can just kind of keep it, list form.
I think the let's go a little deeper into the fractional ownership and
Okay,
and seeing some of the benefits of that, and then giving some examples of outside of the sports situation, which we know that occurs today, right? There's multiple owners of organizations, each has a different percentage
absolutely.
and value of what they bring to the table,
Right.
right? Um, so when you say fractional ownership, give me another example.
Um, okay, so I know this is going to be one of the things that we're probably going to touch on. Let's go stock market, right? So let's say right now you want to purchase Apple stock. I'm not really sure what the price is today, but let's just give it an example. Let's
The
say
stock is floating around $120.
right. Let's keep it at even $100, right? All right, so not everybody has $100 to invest into Apple stock, right? And the way it's set up today, you have to purchase a full stock. You can't break it up and buy a fraction of a stock. So you would need to have at least, let's say it's $100, you would have to have at least $100 for you to be able to purchase one share of Apple stock, right? So right now, because that is in itself a barrier to entry, and everybody doesn't have $100 to be able to invest, just for multitude of reasons. You one have a higher barrier of entry for people to get into investing, but when it comes to fractional ownership and tokenization, you'll now be able to break in half, let's say, or you can break it into a fourth, even pieces of one share. So instead of you paying $100 for it, let's say you broke it into four pieces, and now you have 25% ownership of one share, right? So this would be you investing $25 as opposed to $100, and now you are able to invest and have ownership into that Apple stock. So even when it appreciates and it goes up in value, that $25 that you've invested, it can, grow, and it can turn into something larger than what you initially invested. So this is incredible, because what this is going to do is this is going to allow so many more people to get into the stock market and be able to invest. And it's going to bring a lot more money. More people, more money. More money means more liquidity, more efficiency. When you have faster moving markets, and you take certain middlemen out of the equation, these settlement houses, these different brokers that have their positions, they have to put fees and things like that in the mix. When you remove these people out of the way and you're able to transact with less fees, and there's more money in the markets, you're able to transact smoother, right? More people can sell, more people can buy. There's a more harmonious market, and the transactions just flow way better. So this is
So
this
less
one of the
frictionless when we hear that word in our industry, less
a-
friction.
absolutely less friction.
So listen, the case use is already being done since 2009, right? So you
Right,
Bitcoin today could be 27,000, but who's buying one Bitcoin every single purchase,
right.
right? So you can buy 25 cents worth of Bitcoin, 10 cents worth of Bitcoin, a dollar, all the
Absolutely
way up.
right.
Okay.
So this is the awesome part, and this is, not to cut you off. This is the awesome part, because I'm glad you tied this to crypto. This is the how do I say it? This is like one of those charging themes of crypto, where you don't necessarily have to have enough money to buy these projects that grow immensely like Bitcoin did, right? Bitcoin was once six thousandths of a penny. Now we're looking at a 28,000, 29,000, all the way up to almost a $70,000 Bitcoin at one point, right? So as the markets continue to move, these projects are going to continue to move. And as real world utility and use case like tokenization begins to set in, a lot of these projects that you see that are really, really low priced right now, the barrier of entry is going to be raised, because there's going to be a lot of price appreciation, right? These prices are going to skyrocket. But there's certain projects that you guys have to invest in or know about to even kind of be in that arena to catch these upticks. But when it comes to tokenization, this helps because it's allowing guys to fragment ownership, take little small bits of capital, invest it into a certain market, invest it into whatever you're trying to get into, and now you can have a piece about things. You don't have to worry about, oh man, I can't afford this, I can't get into it. It just kind of brings the average everyday person into the investor realm, which is awesome and is what we truly need.
Okay. So with benefits always come disadvantages, right?
Absolutely.
So just touch on some of the disadvantages of tokenization.
Sure. So a couple things off the head. I would say market volatility. I would say lack of regulation, limited use case, especially at the moment. This is an emerging technology, emerging thing, idea right now. So there's not a whole lot of use case, but it's growing and it's going to grow rapidly. There are high barriers of entry, being that it's new tech. Some people have the mindset that things are complicated, that they're a little harder to get into when they're new and you truly don't really know much about it. Just so like the lack of understanding, and then a need for trust. Right now, we've had a lot of things go on in the financial and banking sectors where a lot of people just aren't trusting banks, which is another reason why people were kind of moving their money from traditional banks and traditional methods into cryptocurrency. So now, when it comes to tokenization, that's going to be an awesome thing, but you still have that little thing on your shoulder saying, hey, I really don't know too much about it. There's not a whole lot of information out there about this. And because I don't have that true understanding, all of these things can be considered, big disadvantages.
So there's two things that are needed in order for this tokenization to really take off the way it's going to take off. And the two
Mhm.
things are one being distributed ledger technology,
Absolutely.
right? And then the second being smart contracts. So can you correlate the, the distributed, ledger technology and the smart contract and how they both apply to tokenization?
Got you. That's actually an awesome question. Um, so distributed ledger is nothing more than a ledger, right? A ledger is when you track things. It doesn't matter what it is, right? And I'll tie this all back to the financial realm, but just for the sake of understanding, a ledger, all you're doing is tracking a transaction or things, right? The movement of something, whether somebody adds something, takes away something, something is bought, something is sold, the timestamp, and there's transaction data that always is correlated to a transaction. When did it take place? What method was it used? What form of currency? What unit of currency was used? Whether it's crypto, dollars, whatever, and all of these things are tracked on a ledger, right? The difference between a standard blockchain ledger and a distributed ledger is that a distributed ledger is where multiple entries are all tracked all at the same time across multiple computers, all on one network. That's it. That's the easiest way I can kind of break this down. When it comes to a distributed ledger, everybody that is involved, everybody that is on this network that has visibility, all of their individual computers or individual ledgers, they're all updated simultaneously. So, Steve, if let's say me and you made a transaction and there's 10 people that's on the network, so there's 10 computers, me and you are just operating two of those. We'll make the transaction, our ledger gets updated, and in real time, all of 10 computers are all updated. So now everybody who's on the network, they can essentially see everything that has just happened in real time.
So this sounds like this technology can eliminate the gatekeeper
Absolutely. One
society that we live in right now, right? Because normally it's paper, pen, back office, things could be manipulated.
right.
Can this happen with this technology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the great thing. So it's kind of like a gift and a curse. The great thing about this is right now we have intermediaries, we have clearinghouses for, let's say, stocks, and we'll get into this, on one of the other parts.
And you can
Uh,
keep it cryptocurrency so that because it's already the case use is here,
you're right. Okay.
just to make it
So yeah, just to make it easier. Okay, so check this out. You have with a distributed ledger, right? Me and you, we transact. Let's say we transact in Bitcoin. So now it's going to be on the Lightning Network. You should be able to go into the network, type in the transaction ID, and you'll be able to see everything that we've just transacted, the amount, the time, the date, everything about the transaction. You'll be able to see it, right? So now everybody who has access to that data can see it. There is truly no middleman. There's nothing in between us that stops us from transacting, right? Now, when it comes to having intermediaries right now as it exists outside of crypto, you have people who have to settle these transactions. You have to deposit the money. You have to wait for the deposit to go through and actually settle before you can even access it and make it. So that in itself burns you a lot of times because we know in cryptocurrency, things happen so fast that you need to be able to kind of react and execute in real time. When you can't do that, it hurts you because now you're going to miss out on certain opportunities because you're waiting on settlements that need to happen, right? The slow, antiquated world that we've been living in. Now, you don't have to necessarily wait too long because you're having instant settlement. You're having instant settlement of things where now, anytime I need to upload money, boom, I can send it 5, 10 seconds. It's there. Once it's there, it's settled. Transaction is final. I can move and transact however I need to with no hindrance. That's the key benefit, right? So with distributed ledger tech, with so many benefits and all of the things that come with it, it um, still needs smart contracts in essence, right? Because now you're dealing with real world assets and you're dealing with things of value. So anytime you're transferring things of value or you're transacting, you always want to have something in place, right? If you make a contract and it's just spoken, it's verbal. In cryptocurrency world, you use smart contracts. So there's nothing that needs to be said. It can all be programmed and put into a smart contract. So long story short, if you and I needed to transact something and I say, listen, there's two of us, we have 50 ownership in this home, and I want to sell my 50% to you, right? In the smart contract, I'm gonna write, hey, I, Champ, am gonna sell my portion to Steve, a 50% on this day, this time. Boom. Now we have it in writing. It's written digitally inside the coding. So there's nothing that needs to be discussed. We don't have to wait for a middleman to come in, confirm the legality of certain things. That takes a long time. We don't have to go through all of the nonsense that you typically have to go through right now in cryptocurrency and in the digital realm. When you're transacting these assets, you could do it in real time, which saves everybody a ton of money, a ton of time, and you're able to get things done a lot faster than you typically would.
okay. So this is the segment part that I like because it comes off the Q and it's more on intuition, where we both give our viewpoints on where we feel or how big we think tokenization can
Right.
get in the future. So, Champ, I want to throw this to you, and then you throw it back to me.
Gotcha.
What's your thoughts on tokenization in Champ's world?
So every single representation of value on earth in the next 4 years, we're talking 48 months, is going to become tokenized on a blockchain or on a distributed ledger. And I'm talking about all your stocks, all your bonds, commodities. We're talking gold, silver, palladium, copper, everything, diamonds. Um, we're talking about just even down to your digital identity. It's all going to become digital, tokenized, right? In the form of a coin, a token, or even an NFT. When you think of it, there's never been anything. to this magnitude that we've ever had that is going to improve efficiency and improve the way we do all business, the way we share data, the way we share just our information. We give up a lot of things, posting things on social media, just all of that, right? We're posting our photos, our information, our birthdays. We're giving up all this data socially, right? But now when Web3 comes, this is the Internet of Things. With the Internet of Things, you're going to need tokenization. You're going to need all this liquidity to come in. You're going to need something that's going to help, because we're no longer giving our power to intermediaries. It's going to be all of us transacting with each other and with these companies. And when we're doing this so fast and so smoothly and efficiently, we are going to have the control over certain things. But in order for something this massive to kind of get to every individual person, this has got to be truly smooth. It has to be ironed out, but it has to be on a massive scale, and we're talking globally. So to answer your question in full, I don't want to overtalk this, but just to truly put this in perspective, this is going to be the biggest opportunity that ever existed, ever, financially, ever. And I'm going on record. I'm going to say that the New York Stock Exchange is going to be the world's largest NFT marketplace, because everything is going to be tokenized. Everything can essentially become an NFT. So I want you guys to really focus and start connecting these dots with us. And we're going to take you guys on this ride through these next parts. But I think tokenization is going to be massive and unparalleled to anything we've ever experienced. Now,
Wow.
Steve, I know you're gonna hit me with some crazy heat right there, because your mind is like, whew, massive. Tell me, please, how big do you see tokenization for the world?
Listen, I've been waiting to let this off. The closer we get to mass adoption, the closer we get to regulations, the masses start to see this thing unfolding, right?
Right.
4 to 5% of world population is currently invested in cryptocurrency today. It's the world population, right? That's not a huge number.
Right.
We've seen market caps in crypto surpass $3 trillion, but the only way that it was able to do that wasn't with institutional investors. It was when you allow people to come together with no friction, things happen, right? Whether it be Pepe Coin, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, it doesn't matter, right? Don't look at the rug pulls of these projects. Just look at when people decide to pool things together,
Mm-hmm.
right, for a project that has case use, unlimited potential, right, that can solve problems that we all face on a daily basis. Only abundance can come out of that, right? So
Right.
there's two words that come to mind when I think of tokenization: abundance and currency. Currency, and the reason that we're in this state that we're at in the world now is because currency, by the simplest definition, guys, it's supposed to flow from one hand to the other to the other. The problem is, in this current system, you have a regime who hoards a lot of the capital, a lot of currency, right? So when you hoard currency, that means you're taking something away from somebody else. Understand? So you can name Apple, Microsoft, some of these are the biggest companies in the world right now. If no one purchases that Apple phone, that's not it, right?
Right.
We dictate what it is. But for so long, the guys who hold the most currency, right, dictate what we do, and we follow suit. We live in an age where these companies that we spend our hard-earned money on would rather validate and work for shareholders. This is the biggest issue. So I'm going to go on record to say that in the next 5 years, shareholders are dead. That's done.
Woo!
We're entering a space of abundance, right? So if I run a Fortune 500 company, one shareholder could fuck me up, right? This is called they can do a bank run on me. And all these guys are connected, right? So when Mr. A decides to take his money out, there's a trickle effect. Mr. B is Mr. A's friend. He takes his money out. You could lose about 30% of your company by two people, right? But they don't matter because they're not even purchasing the products. They're just in this for currency, right? There's no value exchange for these guys. When they get paid, they're out. Understand? It's not circulating back.
Right.
I see an age of abundance with tokenization coming. And what do I mean by that? If I'm running a company, let's say Disney, why would I need a few shareholders to control what the company does? These guys don't even go to Disney, right? They don't matter. And I'm going to go on record to say this, guys. We have to get rid of these corporate clowns, right? And take back what's ours. Because these products are created for the masses. So why are the corporate guys benefiting the most from it? Think about it. So when we get rid of shareholders, what do we replace them with? Right? So if we tokenize a company, we replace the company with new retail investors who could come in at any minimum required. And I told Champ this the other day. We just had a call. I said, Champ, listen, you get 1 million people to send you $1 to $1 million. That's a capital raise, right? If I have to go raise capital through Mr. X with a suit and tie on sitting in Texas, he controls the outcome of what I want to do.
Right.
And this is where things don't flow. And currency is not just money, guys, right? Don't let this go over your head. So when corporations start to understand that people should be the governing body, the technology allows this to happen. Now, here's the benefit, right? Normally, Fortune 500 companies will go where? Middle America, they'll start to do these little tests and they'll run some questions and know if the program's going to be right for all of us, right? You don't have to do that now. You have a governing body. I am part of multiple governing bodies in crypto projects where they come to us as owners, right? Whether it be fractional, doesn't matter. I have a vote and a say. So again, prime example, Disney wants to launch a new park and it's between waterworks or fireworks. They go to the people, right? Once the people vote and you get a majority vote, we're already in. Right. And because we're shareholders and you're giving us more invested interest, we are going to spend more, right? We are going to tell more people about it. So understand, when you start to get these corporate thugs out the way, we now live in a space of abundance. Understand? So tokenization to me shows abundance. Tokenization to me shows death to an old regime, right? These guys are only worried about their money, their family, their small niche group. So that 1%, right, that we keep hearing about, that's dead. I go on record to say that that's dead in the future. Now, if people allow them to continue to do off-chain transactions, right? So just not to go off kill, but crypto is not a scam. What happens is that Sam Bankman guy, we knew this. All his transactions were done off-chain. Crypto transactions, if I invest money, which was supposed to be on-chain, we're all supposed to see where the money's going from one wallet to the next. If that was on-chain, you would start to notice this guy took our money and started to move it into personal wallets, right? But because it was off-chain and because he lined up with the right politicians, the right corporate thugs, the right sports figures, right? It gave the impression to the people who knew nothing about off-chain.
Right.
So all they did was, and I'm tired of it, they use us for exit liquidity every time. And I know the power of this technology is to eliminate that and eliminate suffering in the world. So the quicker we get to understanding the power of the technology, right? Not the fun parts of it, just the power of what it can truly do. Then we could truly harness, right? And start to push. I don't think Apple's going to be the biggest company. I don't think Microsoft's going to be the biggest company.
Yeah.
I don't even think Bitcoin is going to, and you got to think Bitcoin has market caps bigger than a lot of these companies right now.
Right.
Because if Apple's trading for 120 a share and Bitcoin's trading for 27, 28,000, there's a difference, right? And we're only talking about 4% of the world population is even invested in this. Parts of the 95% that's or 96% that's not invested can't even invest by law. But everyone now could buy Apple stock. It could only take you to a particular threshold.
Right.
So what happens when it's regulated worldwide and the floodgates open? and it's already valued at what it's valued at. Where do these projects go in the future? Unlimited potential.
Absolutely.
Eliminate corporate thugs, eliminate shareholders, eliminate the 1%. That all equals abundance. The people win. That's what tokenization is to me.
Mic drop. Mic drop. I knew you
Listen,
were going to take it there.
part 2, 3, and 4, stock market, real estate, music, and art.
Yep.
Champ and I are going to show you exactly what this looks like in the future and how we could all position ourselves, right? No more A&Rs in music. No more label heads controlling what we listen to or how we dictate whatever. It goes from artists to consumer direct, right? None of the fluff in between. You have to understand when you run hyperinflation, when they're raising the debt ceiling, when they're printing more money that's not real, it's only going to continue to add to inflation, meaning the cost of everything is going to go up. But if we're not making any more money, then that means now there's just more stress put on common households. The only way to eliminate this situation and let these guys have at it with whatever they're doing is to create systems that will allow inclusion and abundance to flow, right? And I see in the future, these Fortune 500 companies would rather have 100 to 2 to 300 million people investing than the usual 5 suspects, BlackRock, Vanguard. These guys are done, right? And when I say they're done, I'm just speaking that to existence. They have no space in this marketplace.
Yeah.
Right? Because what happens is when you have a small amount of people controlling situations and making the most money, what they do is they create a business called cause and effect, right? So they give us a problem and then they give us the solution also. You understand? They've done it. They play with our healthcare. They're playing with our food. The fastest way that we get off that grid is by tokenizing and keeping things on chain, because the Food and Drug Administration as a whole needs to be tokenized. They have to be separated. You understand? We have to be able to, as a public, vote on our own situations. Tokenization gives us that option to do it. Right now, there's closed door policies being made by who don't know who, and it doesn't serve who, right? So, like I tell people, listen, you come on this side with us, or you stay on that side with them. We know that game already, and if you're having fun with that game, all right, so have at it.
Right.
But Champ and I have been in crypto since 2015. I can tell you that this side of the game keeps it open and honest. And the crazy part about the Fortune 500 companies is that they're not all like that. These guys want the middleman out too, right? It's a clogged up system. They want to be able to move money 24/7.
Right.
Permissionless, frictionless tokenization.
Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Man, I appreciate you, bro. That was super insightful. And as much as I know, I'm always a student of the game. So I love to hear, bright minds really express things. And I know we have conversations off camera all the time. But even to sit here and share the space with you, I get to open up my palette and my thinking, my thinking pot, and just kind of see things from a different vantage. So I definitely appreciate you. And
This was a currency exchange.
absolutely.
Right? The quicker we start to realize what currency is and what it's meant here to do, you'll start to understand how interconnected we really are. And stop chasing the money, guys. They're not letting go of it.
Right.
Right? Let it flow to you. This new system allows it to flow to you. You just have to get the information. That's the currency. The currency lies in the information. That's what we do at Skyton Crypto University. We provide you the information. Because Champ and I have been in the market for over 8 years, combined experience 16 and a half years, we give you time and market. So when we put out our products and we price them to save you time. Chat GPT, we're all in on that. It does not have feelings, it does not have intuition, it does not have time and market. You understand? It's singular. I don't care how much data it spits out. It's Google, it's just talking to you. That's all.
Right.
Same shit. Same wing, different bird, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's smart though. Don't get me wrong. It's a powerful technology. And now here's one more thing, guys. Traders, They're being eliminated right now. There's literally we bot trade like it's nobody's business. They're making calls with 99% accuracy. So when you have a few people that control the masses, I could always tell you there's always going to be imbalance. And tokenization is what creates a level playing field.
Man,
welcome to the age of abundance.
let's go. Let's go. Part 2, part 3, part 4 on the way. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you guys hit the like button, leave a comment, drop us your questions. We'll make sure we address it, and we're going to provide you guys with some value in the write up and in these other parts. So stay tuned for more.
And guys, understand this. We went through this situation with the internet in the 90s, early 90s. My parents missed that wave. Do not, I'm urging you guys, do not wait until this train hits you. At that point, it's too late. Get the knowledge now. This is it's free. You just basically have to put your time in, right? Please, the financial sector is about to be flipped upside down. I have Fortune 500, guys who work in Fortune 500 companies for decades who don't know anything about what's about to happen, guys. So they're behind the curve right now. They'll catch up because they have more money than they know what to do with. But we don't have that luxury at this point. So get in early, get in now. We're not talking about investing. We're just talking about understanding the knowledge. Just share this, please. If something struck and it hit home, hit the share button and let's get this message out there. Champ, appreciate you. Take us out.
All right, guys, listen. Incredible opening part to tokenization. We've got a couple more coming. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Steve, thank you so much for your insightfulness. Thank you for that visionary brain of yours. Love what you're doing. Love what we're doing and creating for the people. And we're going to keep delivering. That's my God's honest truth. Let's go. Let's get it.
Appreciate you, champ. Way to knock it out today.
Yes, sir. Peace, peace.